Do you think you know everything there is to know about Kelowna? Well, think again. From abandoned mega projects to pyramid-topped island to deep lake legends and a tomb sealed and hidden in the hills, Kelowna has a strange and fascinating side that most people never hear about. So beyond the beaches, wineries, and sunshine is a city that is built on big dreams, mysterious history, and legends that still linger today. In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 strange things you probably didn't know about Kelowna. And trust me, it is going to leave you wondering what else could be hidden beneath the surface. I've made plenty of videos to show you what it's like to live here, from the lifestyle to the real estate and neighborhoods. But what about the other side of Kelowna? From the forgotten stories to the strange legends and the ambitious projects that just never came to life. Beyond the beaches, weather, and wineries, Kelowna has a fascinating past, filled with folklore like the Ogopogo, mysterious developments, and hidden landmarks that even most locals don't know about. So today in this video, we are diving into parts of Kelowna that most people don't talk about, but they definitely should. Kicking off the list at number 5 is Kelowna Mountain Park. Now, Kelowna Mountain Park was set to be an ambitious and highly publicized development that was set to be located on southern Kelowna slopes, looking over Lake Okanagan. It was envisioned to be a massive adventure park, including a vineyard resort destination. It was set to have a ton of attractions, including Canada's largest suspension bridge network, zip lines, an amphitheater, and even a wine village. At its peak, it was promoted to be a tourism icon for the Okanagan, with a perfect blend of outdoor recreation and entertainment set along the most spectacular backdrop showcasing British Columbia. So what happened to it? Well, despite its bold ideas, Kelowna Mountain Park was plagued by lack of permits, insufficient funds, and significant regulatory issues. Most of what was built, including the suspension bridges and most of the buildings, were done without the final approvals from both municipal and provincial governments. The developer, he had big dreams, but he failed to meet critical planning, environmental, and engineering standards that were required to operate legally. The project opened briefly for some public events, including some wine tastings and tours of the suspension bridges. However, it was really short-lived. By the mid-2010s, the park was essentially abandoned. And to this day, there is still some unfinished buildings and decay that remains on the site. Despite some chatter over the years of reviving the project or selling off the land, Kelowna Mountain Park remains a symbol of overambition and under-delivery, but it is a part of the Okanagan's history. Stepping in at number 4 on our list today is Rattlesnake Island. So just off the shores of Peachland, in the heart of Okanagan Lake, is a speck that's often overlooked, a little island known as Rattlesnake Island. Today, it's a quiet, rugged stop for curious kayakers or boaters. But in the 1970s, it was the epicenter of one man's wildly ambitious, but ultimately heartbreaking dream. The man was Haymour, a Lebanese Canadian with a creative spark and a deep love for the Okanagan. He didn't just see a quiet island, he saw a magical destination he wanted to create. His vision included bumper boats, mini golf, restaurants, pyramids, and even a cable car that would take you across Lake Okanagan. It was bold, eccentric, and way ahead of its time. In 1971, Eddie purchased Rattlesnake Island and got straight to work. And by the summer of 1972, he opened to the public, drawing over 700 guests on his opening day. But what his dream was quickly turned into a nightmare. Because the island sat on a provincial waterway, Eddie's project really quickly turned into a bureaucratic avalanche. Permits were denied and authorities began to step in. And in what many believe to be a targeted and unfair move, essentially, authorities stepped in and totally shut him down. Eddie spent years fighting back, going through lengthy court cases that eventually went all the way to BC's Supreme Court. Here's where the story takes a totally surreal turn. In the 1980s, after Eddie's facing financial ruin and losing everything, he takes this battle internationally. He stormed the Canadian embassy in Beirut, Lebanon, armed with a rifle and a handful of supporters demanding justice and media attention. A standoff ensued. It was incredibly dangerous and could have ended tragically. However, after hours of negotiations, Eddie surrendered peacefully. However, this event hit international headlines, giving it the attention it needed. Eventually, Eddie did reach a settlement with the Canadian government. However, he never regained control of the island. He did, though, use a portion of that settlement to build one last tribute, the Peachland Castle. Perched on the hills directly across from Rattlesnake Island is the castle, and this was Eddie's one way to keep his dream alive. The hotel operated for several years and featured an unforgettable detail: a larger-than-life statue of Eddie himself directly pointing across the lake to the island that started it all. What remains there today is a crumbling dock, the remnants of mini golf, and one of the most bizarre and emotional stories of Okanagan's history. What is now a quiet island was once a wild man's dream, a government standoff, and one of the most incredible stories in Okanagan history. All right, coming in at number 3, we have Paul's Tomb. Tucked away in the rugged natural beauty of Knox Mountain is one of Kelowna's most fascinating and often forgotten landmarks, Paul's Tomb. What might look at a first glance as a concrete slab barely peeking through the hillside is actually a significant part of history that goes back more than a century. Built in 1910, this tomb was the vision of Rambler Paul, an early, wealthy entrepreneur, philanthropist, and orchardist that shaped Kelowna's early community. Rambler wasn't just building a tomb, he was building a legacy. This was meant to hold 8 family members and to be built directly into the hills to symbolize prestige and permanence, wanting it built with thick concrete walls and completely embedded into the earth. However, 2 only made it into the tomb, Rambler and his beloved wife, Elizabeth. And then the tomb sat quiet for decades, until it became curiosity for locals. Its remote location made it a magnet for vandals and thrill seekers, and eventually the city had had enough. In the 1970s, the entire tomb was backfilled, with now only a little bit showing above the earth. Still, it's not forgotten. Today, many people use the path out to Paul's Tomb, being rewarded with incredible lake views, an awesome beach, yet at the same time, you'll pass the remnants of Kelowna's past. It's a perfect place to blend history, nature, and myth. And here's the kicker. Many hikers don't even realize what's beneath their feet. A sealed vault holding one of Kelowna's most influential couples, watching the city grow around them. Coming in at number 2 is the Rock Ovens. Now, winding through some of BC's harshest terrain lies an artery of ambition, grit, and survival, the Kettle Valley Rail Trail. Built in the early 1900s, this 600-kilometer line was not just for transportation, it was a lifeline. Beyond its sweeping curves and trestles lies the cost that most overlook. Now, construction was brutal, long days, bitter cold, and dangerous conditions. Many of the workers, often European immigrants, were paid little, left to endure the elements with basically only what they could carry. Above Naramata, in Rock Oven Regional Park, lies the remnants of their resilience. Hidden in the hills are stone ovens, hand-built by the workers to bake bread in the middle of nowhere. These weren't luxuries, they were a lifeline. In a place where supplies were sacred, this bread was for survival. Imagine it, frigid air, a remote setting, and the smell of bread baking at dusk. These weren't just meals, they were fleeting moments of comfort in an otherwise harsh reality. Now, they weren't slaves, but their treatment wasn't far off. They were poorly paid, overworked, and basically forgotten. Yet without them, we wouldn't have the KVR. Today, the KVR is enjoyed by many as they take in the beautiful trestles and scenery. Yet most forget how it was created and what they went through to make it happen. So next time you're visiting the KVR, take a moment to think about it. It's not just a trail, it's a tribute. Now, last up, we have the mysterious Ogopogo. Now, you've probably heard of Ogopogo, Kelowna's mysterious lake monster. But did you know that there's actually a statue of it lying at the bottom of Lake Okanagan? That's right. Just off the shores of this beach here at Paul's Tomb lies a 12-foot statue that was placed at the bottom of Lake Okanagan. It's not a myth, it's really there, and it's just eerie enough to make you wonder what else might be down there. The statue was created by local divers in the 1990s, made of fiberglass and concrete, then gently lowered into the lake. It was meant to be a fun, eerie, kind of spooky attraction for local diving community. Over time, it's been taken over by algae and lake life. And it's taken this, what started to be playful project, and turned it into an ancient, forgotten relic. It blurs the lines between folklore and what gives Lake Okanagan its edge. Now, most hikers don't even know that this exists. And even though it's a statue, imagine being down there swimming and running into this lake monster. It would absolutely be enough to give you the chills. Okay, so my question for you is, did you know about these 5 strange things? Or is there maybe something strange about Kelowna or the Okanagan that you know? If you do, share them in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. And so if you're not too scared to move to Kelowna or the Okanagan, I help people from all over the world relocate here to the beautiful Okanagan. So if you have questions or want to know more, please don't hesitate to reach out. I love to help. Until next time.